The Nigel Farage Coutts scandal is just the opening salvo in the fight of our lives to stop the UK creeping towards a Chinese-style social credit system where our behaviours and political ideologies are monitored and judged by woke corporations, globalist institutions and potentially soon a socialist government. And be very concerned. This isn't some sort of far-fetched dystopian prospect. We're already getting there. So take the chilling revelation today that the UK's four biggest banks, NatWest, Lloyds, HSBC and Barclays, all refuse to deny that they monitor their own customers on social media. Their complicated privacy policies, you know, the ones that, go on for 13 pages and you're forced to sign before taking an account, allow for such an approach, but that doesn't make it right. So, for example, NatWest, the parent company of Farage bank Coutts, says it can gather information that you make public on social media in its 13-page policy document. The Lloyds policy, which also covers Halifax and the Bank of Scotland, says it can collect information from published media as well as social networks. And HSBC, which you might remember shut my business bank account with no explanation, is even worse. They say they can monitor information that relates to your social interactions, such as your communications via social media between individuals, organisations and prospects. Why? Why? What right does a bank have to know anything about what views I'm expressing? The rule of law is already in place to protect against money laundering and that sort of thing. So no wonder terrified businesses are slowly edging towards groupthink to avoid any trouble. At least the government is demanding answers, with Michael Gove making that clear this morning as pressure builds on the NatWest chairman, Sir Howard Davies, should launch some sort of inquiry into Dame Alison Rose.
But I definitely think that he was owed an apology. He's got one, but I think that the company has further to go in order to make sure that this matter ends appropriately.
And breaking tonight, Howard Davies has ignored those calls and offered his full backing to the CEO, Dame Alison Rose. In a board statement, he said, as Dame Rose recognises she should not have spoken in the way she did, this was a regrettable error of judgment on her part. However, after careful reflection, the board has concluded that it retains full confidence in her as the CEO. Now, that extraordinary vote of confidence comes despite Rose's admission that she was the source behind the BBC business editor Simon Jack's fake news about Farage's debanking. So this is what she's had to say. Believing it was public knowledge, I repeated what Mr Farage had already stated, that the bank saw this as a commercial decision. I would like to emphasise that in responding to Mr Jack's questions, I did not reveal any personal financial information about Mr Farage. Put simply, I was wrong to respond to any question raised by the BBC about this case. I want to extend my sincere apologies to Mr Farage for the personal hurt this has caused him. But on his show earlier tonight, Nigel called for Davies, Rose, and the Coutts chief executive, Peter Flavel, who has yet to break his deafening silence, has ignored Farage. He called for all three of them to go.
But it is perfectly clear to me that Peter Flavel, the CEO of Coutts, has not done his job in any way at all. Perfectly clear to me that Alison Rose is unfit to be the CEO of a big group, and that Howard Davies, who is supposed to be in charge of governance, has failed as well. Given that we have a 39% stake in this, we, the great British public, I think at that investor statement on Friday morning, the government ought to say we have no confidence in this management. Frankly, I think they should all go.
While it took the bravery of Farage to speak out to expose the scandal in the first place, the chilling impact of the behaviour by Coutts is that most people will simply keep stum. Why risk our livelihood? Why risk our ability to run our businesses simply for expressing an opinion? And the consequences of that for democracy and freedom of speech in what are febrile times, well, I think it's grave.